Chicago, Illinois. I graduated from high school in 1942. A week after graduation, I enlisted in the U.S. Army Air Corps, and I was 18 at time of enlistment. I received my training. I started at Dickinson College in Carlisle, Pennsylvania, then went to Maxwell Field, Alabama, and we were held up training there because they didn't have enough room for us in front to get ahead. So we spent 2 sessions there. Then from there, I went to primary flying school in Avon Park, Florida. After there, we trained in the Stearman PT-17, which is the best airplane next to the Liberator. From there, I went to Tuscumbia, Alabama, and flew in the BT-13, the Vultee vibrator. Then went to Freeman Field in Indiana and flew twin engines and graduated there, I believe, in June of 1944. After I trained in B-17s originally for 6 weeks, I was promoted to B-24s and joined the crew of Pat Whaling in Burlington, Vermont. And that was my first experience with the B-24. We flew over to Italy, and we arrived there in January of 1944. I flew 18 sorties. I was and some of them were 2 missions. There were approximately 25 missions total. I was second lieutenant. I was a co-pilot on the crew. One of the stories we had was we flew up to the Sarco Albes Bridge, which was in northern Italy, close to Austria. And at the briefing, they told us it was going to be a milk run. And the milk runs, of course, that means no flak, no fighters, anything. So we got up there, and we came in rather low. I think we were about 15,000 coming in. And during the night, the Germans had brought in flak guns at about 12,000 foot elevation. And we were flying number 4 in the formation. And all of a sudden, the flak let go, and we had 1, 2, and 3, bang. They got really banged up bad. And we ended up, we were leading the rest of the squadron over the target. And as I recall, when we got back home, I think we counted 300 holes in the ship. And I think that's the one where Krickenberger got flak across his nose. Krickenberger was our navigator. And that was one of our fun missions.
What would you think about or say about your pilot or your ball gunner?
Oh, outstanding crew. Pat Whaling was an excellent pilot. He handled the number of bad situations we were in very, very well, especially the one when we landed in Ancona. At that time, we had lost 3 engines and got hit by flak again over Vienna after we got hit over the target, which I think was near München. And that was difficult. In fact, Pat at the time suggested to the crew, better bail out over the Adriatic, but we're going to see if we can get it in. And fortunately, they briefed us that morning to the effect that we had just captured Ancona, and if we needed it, and boy, we sure did, if we needed it, why, we could use that as an emergency landing field. But the crew, everyone in the crew were great fellows, and we all fortunately survived the war. Well, the B-24 was an excellent airplane. I think probably the best way I can explain it is I have a very good friend in Omaha who spent 26 years in the service. I got out on August 27th, 1945, and I was in school on September 15th, going further. But this friend of mine stayed in the service. He ended up lieutenant colonel. He flew 17s in England, and we always kid each other. He brought up to me, he said, you know, the 17 was so much better than the B-24. I said, well, you may think so, but, you know, I graduated after spending 6 weeks from the B-17 into the B-24. And besides that, there has to be a reason why they made over 19,000 B-24s and I think around 11,000 B-17s.
Okay, and your crew, you had a couple more buddies with you.
No, we don't have any left.
I know, but
Who were they?
who were they?
Oh,
The original crew?
well,
The Krickenberger,
navigator. Frank Kohler was the bombardier, and he died in the 50s, unfortunately.
We don't know where Majors is at.
No, Majors was our engineer,
flight engineer.
And DBS is in Florida.
Yeah,
He was our
radio operator.
Herb Franklin lives in Butler, Pennsylvania, and I never heard from him. And I lived down below Pittsburgh and never heard from him. Joe Zib lived in New York, and he's dead.
He was in Buffalo, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And who else? Is that 10?
Cochran.
Oh, no, Frank Cochran, he lives in Lucerne, Wyoming. A couple years ago, I was up there, and every place I went all over up there, we asked, where is Lucerne, Wyoming? The people looked at me like, you crazy? I never heard of it.
That's small.
Okay, well, that's great. Okay, thanks a bunch, guys.
Okay,
That's it.
so we're through.
Yeah, we're through.
Hey, wonderful.
Good job.
Okay, go.